Here we go, Barflies. Welcome to the Barfly Tailgate Show. You already know it's done live. It's 5 Barflies, 4 Barflies, and all the other Bears fans out there. Dude, I'm like fucking frozen in time this morning. We got a lot to go over with you guys today, man. We got, unfortunately, we got the horrible passing of Gale Sayers. We got, the failure to extend or sign A-Rob to a long-term contract. John Jenkins going on the IR, bringing in old big boy from the Steelers, and just a lot of other stuff to announce for you guys. And what Cordell Patterson said in the interview, he's got hella kids. I don't know if that's news, but hey, dude just got him running around. Before we get started, let's introduce the crew first. We got Mr. Aaron Curran, AC in the place to be, the Kentucky Kid. AC, what's up, man?
What's going on, fellas? Feels good to be 2-0. Hopefully we can go 3-0. Got to get this offense together, and I'm ready to get into it this fine, beautiful Kentucky morning. I had to work last night, so I'm going on a little sleep, but if there's Bear football on the TV, you boys watching it.
Damn straight, man. Then we got Mr. Ryan Badgley. Badge of honor. Badge, what's up, buddy?
Yo, what's up, Bobby? AC, man, it's week 3. We're 2-0. Was it pretty? Definitely not, but, it feels good to be sitting here 2-0, headed down to Atlanta to take on the Falcons, and, just ready for hopefully some positive, man. It's been a week, and, watching Bears football always puts me in a better mood, but sometimes it doesn't. But I'm ready to go. Let's hit it.
Yeah, man, we snuck away with another one. Another victory. I don't know if I could say we snuck away with this one, but either way, went up big in the beginning and then just seemed dormant for the rest of the game. We played the potential of our opponents. We've said it for years, and we found another game where we just keep them in the fight, keep it going, and mess with everybody's heart and the heart palpitations and shit, and we send people to the hospital every week. So that's kind of the way this thing has been. Let's start this thing off with Dan's diary, with old Dan Aguirre, the mouth. We'll start with Dan's diary, and then we'll get into a quick recap, and then go from there.
All right, This is Dan Aguirre's Bears diary.
Week 2 arrived with the hopeful sunshine of a Florida tourism viral video. And the Bears had begun roaring right from the opening kickoff, marching 82 yards on 12 plays, culminating in a Mitchell Trubisky to David Montgomery touchdown, and it was 7-0. The fans hadn't even sat down yet. Oh, wait, there weren't any fans. Robert Quinn had a cameo resulting in a Best Supporting Actor nomination with the strip sack of Giants quarterback, what's that guy's name? Is it Dave Brown? Dave Brown was from the Midnight. Daniel, whatever, the quarterback, he hit him on his first play as a Bear. And later in the first half, Mitch was improvising and mesmerizing. And there's Bob. That's my boss. But he was improvising and mesmerizing the Giants' defense and firing a beautiful duck, which is an oxymoron, but it certainly wasn't a spiral, but it was a touchdown to Mr. Mooney. And it was 17-0 Bears. So naturally, the Bears D decided to become complacent. The inevitable siesta was the game's next act. No Saquon? No problem. The Bears had no pass rush, which is Mitch's fault, right? Per several delusional Bears defense advocates. What is paramount is that the D is never subject to blame or scrutiny regardless of the facts. However, the secondary has been ballin', and it was Eddie Jackson turning back Golden Tate. Yeah, I know, his fucking name is Tate. I just hate him. And it was incomplete, and Bears 17, Giants 13. It may not be how you drew it up, but fuck who drew it up. 2-0 is 2-0. Hey, let's get ready to make it 3-0 today. Beat the Falcons in those ugly new uniforms. Back to you, Bobby Bombs. The Barfly Tailgate Show.
There's Mr. Dan Aguirre with Dan's diary again this week, man. He's, the golden taint. Dan just tells the story a little better than everybody else, I think. Tells the story a little bit, better than everybody else. AC, what's your thoughts on the second week and the first half, second half?
Well, it was a tale of two halves again. And like I said in my intro, our offense has got to find a way to put it all together today. We saw a little bit of Cash Mooney in the end zone. That was nice for him to get his first touchdown. Mitch spreading the ball around, looking pretty good in that first half. Defense, hey, we got after the quarterback in the first half, and our secondary held on for the victory. That's all I can ask for is a win. Now my heart can handle a blowout every once in a while, but our Bears, they always like to keep it close and
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know, man. It's like it doesn't matter who you go against. I mean, like, you see him go up against the Patriots a few years ago, or last year down to the 1 yard line at the end of the game, right? And then you see us go to overtime with the Lions. It's like it's ridiculous. And no matter who you go up against, it's like they're, and then I guess with John Buffone on the network, it kind of relates, but they're never going for the knockout. They're always going for the decision. They just want the judges to put in scorecards at the end and decide who won this thing, and they're never really going for the knockout. Badge, what's your thoughts on week 2?
I saw a lot of negative talk on the defense, and I think I probably may have been a little bit a part of it as well. Just watching the game live, not having the opportunity to sit down and rewatch until some of Thursday night and yesterday. The defense was not as bad as it was made out to be. They're playing that soft prevent defense late in the game when they've got a lead. If you looked at some of the receivers for the Giants, they were not picking up extra yards after the catch. It was they'd catch the ball and there was a defender right there on them, bringing them to the ground. With the exception of, I believe Evan Ingram had a catch and run on that fourth quarter as they were driving to try to win the game. And that was really the only one that stood out to me where they got some yards after the catch. And I just think this defense is not getting a lot of credit, and it kind of deserves it. If you look throughout the week, some of the stats that came out, and believe me, I am the furthest thing from a stat nerd. I don't like numbers. I think they can be adjusted to prove your point or to disprove your point. But this defensive line and Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn and Akeem Hicks and Barcavius Mingo and RRH and Bilal Nichols, they are getting pressure there. You look throughout the week, they were there quite a bit. They just didn't get a hit on Daniel Jones. You got to talk about Robert Quinn, his first play of the season.
Yeah, buddy.
I mean, holy cow. Comes in, strip sack, Khalil's able to fall on it. Anthony Miller, I'd love to see you come down with that catch, my man. That ball Mitch threw him was a freaking dime. And if he hangs on to that play is all over NFL Network, ESPN for a catch of the week. But unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. I think all in all, I want to see 60 minutes from this football team, offensively, defensively.
Even last season, though,
I know.
14, 15, have we seen 60 minutes from this football team in like the last year?
I don't think so, man. I feel like the last time we saw 60 minutes was the Tampa Bay game in 18.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It seemed like it seemed like they were so good all phases that game. Since that game, it just doesn't seem like they've been able to put together a complete game. And, today's the day to do it. The Falcons are beat up, and as you said, Bobby, stealing a reference from John Buffone, knock them out. I said, on the first show, I hate using that analogy, punch them in the mouth, because you hear it so much, but
yeah,
they've got to do it at some point. And otherwise you're going to have these questions throughout the entire season. You know what I mean? Like, let's say they go into Atlanta and they do pull off another, 4-point, 3-point, 2-point, 1-point win, or whatever the case may be. Now you're looking at Indy next week, and it's like, well, we were able to either hold a lead or come back and win.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see something where they're able to build a lead in the first half and expunge on it and expand on it in the second half.
Yeah.
And it's not close.
Yeah, I get it. I know that you hear all the time, right? This is what good teams find a way to win. Good teams find a way to win these games. I just don't want it to be every game. You know what I'm saying? Like good teams also beat the brakes off of bad teams. And then they find a way to win with the teams that are good. You don't have to don't find a way to win with fucking everybody.
Right.
Like let's beat the brakes off the bad teams, find a way to win against the good teams, have, the ball bounces our way, this happens, that happens, turnover, call, whatever it is. The good teams always find a way to come out victorious at the end, and I just don't want to have to do that every week.
Well, and the other part to that too is, oh man, and I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
There it is.
You lose Saquon Barkley in the first half. You lose Sterling Shepard in the first half.
Yeah.
You're playing now. You've got Evan Ingram really as a main weapon. Slayton, I mean, he had a good game the week before. Dion Lewis, now he has some Super Bowl experience. Excuse me, with the Patriots.
Yeah.
But these are guys that we should have shut down whatever they were trying to do last week because their two big playmakers weren't on the field for a majority of the game. That has me just a little concerned that Saquon Barkley, who is one of the best players in the NFL, and we couldn't hold these guys from getting in the end zone or luckily at the end of the game, thank you, Golden Taint, for the offensive pass interference.
Pushing off,
we appreciate that.
But can I talk about something before that play? That interception, the pick six that Eddie Jackson had.
Oh yeah.
I was at B-Dubs and I almost lost my mind. Yeah. I was like, if that's pass interference, the New England Patriots are not Super Bowl champions. They're not. Because if that's pass interference on that play in the Super Bowl, that gives the Seahawks another chance, and they're going to hand it to Marshawn Lynch, and he's just going to run it in. He may have been there a little early. He was there a little early, but he was playing the ball. Now, to me, if both players are playing the ball, it's not pass interference. It sucks. It would suck as a Giants fan to watch that, but, am I alone or?
No.
All right. Well, okay, I'll let you go ahead, Bobby, because I have a different opinion.
So I was watching it, and I was sitting right there saying that is not pass interference. He's playing the ball, and then all these all these things started popping up on Twitter and that saying like, oh, it was a good call. It's like this and that. He shouldn't have done it, but he's able to play for the ball. The space is not a spot. Like they're both entitled to that space, so he's able to get in there and go after the ball. He didn't push the dude. He didn't whatever. Yeah, there's a bump. There's a whatever there, but they're both going up to play for the ball. And by the rule book, that's definitely allowed.
So I viewed it as he was there early. I get he's allowed to play for the football, but he was there before the ball was there. And he hit him. So when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's a touchdown. Once I saw the replay, I was like, no, he was there too early. He adjusted the receiver's body position when the receiver's trying to make a catch. Now, if he had gone over him or around him somehow and didn't impact the receiver going to the football, I totally would have been in the same boat as you guys. But once I saw that replay and saw that he was there before the ball was there, I knew exactly what they were calling. And I thought it was a good call. I thought it was the right call.
Yeah, I don't agree.
No, we can agree to disagree. And that was
or we could just say that me and you are right, and Badge is wrong. That's okay too.
I'm sure everybody's opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
Yeah,
and they all stink.
Yeah, so I mean that wraps up the Giants game. I mean, it's a game that we planned on going to. Normally we like hitting that Giants game. I don't. It's been a game that we've gone to almost every year, whether it's Chicago or up in New York, or Jersey, whatever. But unfortunately, fans are not in the stands right now, and there's a couple teams that are talking about letting them back in. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit later. But Tampa's talking about letting some in. Even though the Bears Jacksonville's letting people in, but it's starting to come around. So we'll see, man. We'll see if this thing spikes up again or whatnot, and go from there. Overall, going into week 3, right? I'm just going to get a grade off of both of you. Going into week 3, knowing what we know last year and the previous years, what do you give Matt Nagy as a grade going into week 3 as how he's run this offense? AC, we'll start this one with you, man.
I'm going to give him a B. Last year and somewhat the year before, Matt Nagy was really stubborn as far as running the football, and this team's running the football and then running play action off of it, which I think works to Mitch Trubisky's strengths and also keeps your defense resting on the sideline if you're having longer drives. That just gives us more of a chance for our defense to come out and stay fresh. So I'm giving Nagy a B for so far this season, and we'll see if this continues. But I'm happy with what I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go B minus. I'm happy with the run game. I'm happy with the way that they are moving the football. But there are still some of those questionable play calls that Nagy likes to run to the short side of the field, that have been a thorn in all of our sides, I think, since year one. Running a jet sweep and the receiver coming across takes the football, running to the short side of the field.
Yeah, like end arounds and stuff.
Yeah. It's at this point it's become mind numbing. So, but I definitely think they have room to grow. I think once Nagy figures some things out here for himself, continue to use this run game. I mean, the run game has been very good. To start this season. So, I'm going to stay with the B minus.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. I'm in the B area too. I mean, starting off, I think a lot of this is Nagy's more comfortable, right, with Castillo. Mm-hmm. He's not relying on Heastan. I think him and Heastan found just a straight falling out, and they were, able to keep it professional and without talking crap to each other. But I think it really shows that what he planned on doing, and that he just didn't have the confidence in what Heastan was doing with the line, because he come out already. I think, Montgomery's already 29 carries or whatever for 146. And it's just this rushing game and the trenches have been so much different, man. And I think that gives him the comfortability to go. And obviously with that, it makes Mitch more comfortable. If your running game's working, it opens up your passing game. Bottom line there, Bears are averaging 142 rushing yards a game. And it's a big turnaround, a big change from what we've seen in the past. So I like his clock management. I like the way he's working that stuff. I think B is fair. I think if you don't bring in the previous seasons, right, of what we've seen before, maybe you're at a C, but I think we're a little higher because we kind of seen where he's come around from there. I don't even know.
You can see the difference, dude. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is you can see he's using the run game to build his pass game. And, prior to this season, that wasn't the case. I mean, we had single-digit rushing attempts in multiple games prior to this season. And I think with Montgomery, Cordarrelle, and Tariq, and even Ryan Nall, we saw Ryan Nall with a reception last week when Montgomery went down. You've got a really good group of backs there, and I really think Nagy is focused on using them due to the help from Juan Castillo. I think the offensive line has done a phenomenal job throughout these first 2 weeks of the season. Yes, Mitch was sacked, 4 times last week, I think. But in the run game, they are far much improved, and the pass protection really hasn't been too bad. And I really think Castillo's done a nice job of turning things around. Clancy Barone from the tight end position. The tight ends are doing a phenomenal job in the run game. And, you didn't see him much last week involved in the pass game. Yes, Cole Kmet had his first reception in the NFL, which was great to see. But the addition of these two coaches, and even DiFilippo to a degree, in helping Mitch, read a defense and not and actually look off his first read, which I think he's done very well this season.
Yeah.
You can see the changes there for this offense. Now it's execution, and you've heard it for the first 2 weeks of the season, and Coach Nagy saying, "Hey, we're getting there. We've just got to execute a little bit better." And I think as the season goes along, I mean, really, in essence, this was week 2 of the preseason. These guys, for those that aren't familiar with the NFL, there was no preseason. So these guys are really still kind of getting their groove back. And I think once they do get their groove going, they could be a force to be reckoned with. And on the defensive side of the ball, they'll figure it out too. Obviously, questions around the kicker still, unfortunately, with Santos missing a field goal last week. So I think Pinero's eligible to come off IR after this week.
He's got to go 3 weeks.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, to me, I think the sky's the limit for this team. They just got to keep grinding. And I think after this first quarter of the season, which we talked about week 1, I think we all had the Bears at least 3-1, 4-0.
Yeah.
After that on that first show. And I think this will really show us what this team's made of this week.
Yeah, I agree, man. A couple comments in the chat, a couple grades. Ron Repnow gives Nagy a C. Gore Addict gives him a C-. Grant Sims gives him a B+. Overall, Grant says Nagy clearly doesn't have the personnel to run certain plays. Some plays seem like bad plays, but if they had the right guy in those situations, they may think differently. I think so too. I think sometimes he's calling a certain play, but he doesn't know the substitutions that are going on the field. Yeah. And he's a little surprised to who's where. Grant, dude, thanks for joining us, man. Grant's out in Vegas. It's 6:30 in the morning there. Everybody in the chat, there's over 50 some of you in the chat. We appreciate you guys. Matt Costello gives him a B, gives Nagy a B. Old Joe Moscone, I met Joe at the Bears Packer game a couple of years ago. Joe, what's up, buddy? He says, in my opinion, Mitch holds the ball too long. That accounted for 2 to 4 sacks last week. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah. I mean,
some of that could be coverage too, though.
Yeah, but I mean,
go back and watch it.
And the last thing I have on Nagy, right? I think Nagy is definitely building, right? His trajectory is up. You see where he started with Helfrich, Heastand, with those guys coming in, and now he learned what he could from them, or felt like they didn't mesh well together, right? Now he's on to the next step of guys, and I think it's definitely gonna build him to be more solid of a coach, man. And I don't think any of us have ever had an issue with Nagy's leadership. I think that's always been something to where almost every Bears fan is like, yep, this dude, he's good. He knows how to do it. But
he's a player's coach.
Yeah,
players
but it's
more
exactly. But it's more of his getting out of his own mind and getting out of his own quarterback mindset and just winning the game of football in Chicago style of black and blue trenches. Like, let those guys do some work, open it up here and there, and go. So I believe he's growing, man. I think he's actually molding into a lot better coach with this coaching staff.
Yeah, he's put together a hell of a staff, and I think Bill Lazor and DiFilippo are way underrated. I mean, DiFilippo coming in, working with Mitch, he's got him. 5 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. He seems to be going through progressions this year, which we haven't seen in the past. And you got Bill Lazor, who you talk about the black and blue division. The closest division to me here in Kentucky is the AFC North. That's how they run it. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that has carried over with him from Cincinnati of using all your weapons, running the ball, hitting tight ends. Even Cash Mooney. I'm going to keep saying it until it catches on.
You got to think about this, guys, for a second, too. I think when it comes to Matt Nagy, you look at the head coaches after Lovey and Tressman and Fox. You get somebody like Nagy, it has won enough. He's 5-0 against Detroit. That's something a coach hasn't done since Ditka.
Minnesota's never beat him either.
Yeah, and Minnesota hasn't beat exactly. So, I mean, I think it just seems in the age of social media and how much gets communicated, fans are so expectant of winning right away. And you got to think back to his initial press conference. He said, guys, this is a 3-year trajectory for this offense to really assert itself. And while it's kind of been, hit and miss, I mean, that first year we were all like, oh my gosh, this is what our team's going to be? 2019, we're all at Bears 100 or talking to each other from there going, holy shit, guys, we're going to the Super Bowl. It's the 100th year. This is, and they laid an egg. But they've had the offseason, an even longer offseason. Now, no preseason. I really think each week the team is figuring out stuff about itself. They're finding their identity. Yes, I know it's year 3 and it sounds weird to say they're finding their identity, but I really think they're finding it. And I think it's a huge thing for this Bears offense. Each time something positive happens, they're building confidence.
Another thing I've noticed is around the league with this, I'm assuming it's from not having preseason games. Our defense gave up, 23 points in game 1 and then 13 points last week. And you're seeing a lot of offense in these first 2 weeks. I mean, offense is just going off. Now the Seahawks, who I'm going to use because Russell Wilson's my fantasy quarterback, and he is just putting up insane numbers. And so hats off to the defense there for not being one of these teams giving up 34 points or 42 points.
Yeah. I mean, we even had Nagy in the presser saying about how some of these guys it shows that they just worked harder in the offseason. And they held themselves accountable. They were doing what needed to be done. And I think, and I don't want to say the word, it's that I word. I think it also shows in that category for the Bears, right? That there's dudes are healthy and they're going and they've had the damn, the buildup. So I think that the structure's there, man. Who's that? That was Michael Kinder says greetings from Japan. Greetings, buddy. Dude, I was in Japan.
Michael?
I was in Japan all last season, man, sitting in Iwakuni in Barracks 89. So hopefully you ain't there because I know that service sucks.
I was in Korea 10 years ago. That's close, right?
Yeah, close enough. Damn, man. Just to put a wrap on this game and keep moving forward. I think we just obviously, I know we said it. I know everybody's probably said it. We just need to put a solid game together, man. We started off great. It was like, take the last quarter and then the first 2 quarters. Okay, we got 3 good quarters in a row, but they're just not the same damn game. So we need to build from there, man. And just, I don't know. I think this is a team to do it against. If you want an offense to come out and fire, this is it, man. And the injury bug has gotten to Atlanta, and we'll get into that here shortly. They've gotten to Atlanta, but I don't know, man. It just seems like it's the perfect setup and everything for a trap game to where, and Atlanta's they're no pushover team, but it is going to be the third team that we face that their star players are either done or injured. Third in a row, man. So, I mean, if it can't get any better for the Bears to go undefeated in their first 3 games, that's the layout is perfect. You take the top player off of each of the team and then let the Bears defense face them. And there we go. Before we get into that, though, let's go over to AC with a little segment that that we like to call current events. AC is going to keep you current on the current events. AC in the place to be and his current events.
Well, what's going on, y'all? It's the Bearded Bears fan, Kentucky boy, Aaron Current with your current events this week. and it's going to start out on a somber note. We lost a Hall of Fame running back this week, Gale Sayers, who touched people on and off the field with his play and the way he treated people. Unfortunately, he was only able to play 7 seasons, and only 5 of those being full seasons due to knee injuries. But you want to talk about a guy who was ahead of his time in the way that he played. He could run the ball, catch the ball, return punts. He could probably play corner if they needed him to. I mean, this guy was just a uber talented athlete, and he touched people, with his personality as well off the field. Dick Buckus, and everyone knows about the movie Brian Song, which he was a big part of. And we lost a great one this week, y'all. So that's going to be my current event number 1. I couldn't go forward without touching on this here on a Bears podcast. And then current event number 2, I'm going to hop to my phone for just a second because I got a screenshot here. From Ian Rappaport, sources: the Falcons-Bear game is officially on despite Atlanta's quarterback A.J. Terrell being placed on the COVID-19 reserve list. In contact tracing over the last more than 24 hours, all Atlanta players and personnel are cleared for today's game. No positives from testing conducted yesterday. So we knew it was coming at some point this season. We just didn't know who and where. A.J. Terrell is the first NFL player this season to test positive for COVID-19, and they were able to do some tracing back, and nobody else tested positive, which is great news. I mean, it's not great news for A.J. Terrell, who goes on to the COVID list, but it's great news that they were able to contain it and it didn't widespread and put a stop to this game today. We still got Bears football.
Yeah, and I mean the way that they run testing. Well, sorry, man. Sorry to.
No, that was it.
That was Current and the current events. The way that they run testing, they kind of get these results back. We've seen on the scare, right? They get these results back fairly quick. So as long as I don't think we'll see any games canceled. I know that was the big fear, but I don't think we'll see any games canceled unless a team shows up Sunday morning, gets tested, and then 3 dudes got it, right? And then I think they'll be like, okay, let's stop this one and move it to either Monday or Tuesday or try to do something in that nature. But he's a rookie. He's the first scare that they've had. And I think that the NFL has this protocol and they handle this very well all the way around. And then not to shy away from it or anything, but Gale Sayers, man, it's, he was at the 100 and just, I know he played 54, 55 years ago. I get it. I know none of us, well, maybe one person, but I know none of us actually seen him. But either way, everybody knows who he is, man. Everybody knows the legacy. Everybody knows how close he's been with the organization. If you haven't seen the movie Brian Song,
oh my God.
Yeah,
shame on you if you're a Bears fan.
If you ever need a good ugly cry, just throw Brian Song on.
If you want to sit down on the couch with your wife and your kids, and then have to hide your face when you're crying from watching that's the movie to do it, man. Just a phenomenal movie, and I think the movie was ahead of its time for when it came out, man, and just the way that it did things. So, overall, Badge, I know you got some stuff you want to hit right now, so let's do that, and then we'll carry on with the rest of this Falcons-Bears matchup.
Yeah, before I do that, I just want to – there's my Sayers jersey. I was at Bears 100, guys, and, Chachi and I were standing there together watching the opening ceremony and when they wheeled out Gale Sayers, and – it was awesome to see him. I don't want to take that away, but you could tell he was a shell of himself. And the odd thing is I stood there and watching him and seeing him in the way there wasn't much of a reaction. 5 years prior to that, he was with Jeff Joniak, talking about some of his plays, and he seemed so vibrant and so knew what was going on, knew the play, and it just, losing Gale Sayers, rest in peace, love to his family. Wish him nothing but the best. But we're guys, we're gonna do a sticker giveaway today. So Robert Jones was our first sticker winner from a few weeks ago. Robert, congratulations, man. We saw you in the chat. I'm so glad that you got it. Well, you got your A-Rob sticker. Now we got some Bojack stickers as well. I don't know if you can see that, but a little Bojack action from Audacia. So what we're going to do today, guys, is in order to win this sticker, people in the chat, I need you to tell me what the score was of the last time the Bears played the Atlanta Falcons. First person to get it right wins an Eddie Jackson sticker. So we'll keep an eye on the chat here and, put your answers in there.
I think that was a season opener. I'm not sure if I'm right or not, but
yes, it was.
So I think people should know which way it went if they're on top of what's happened since 2013, what happened this year. But either way, Badge is going to have to monitor that. He's got all the chats. So AC and I think AC and I only see YouTube. Badge is the master of chats. He is the gatekeeper. He has all the chats popping up on his screen. So
I am the gatekeeper.
So he's gonna have to take it all from there. He'll give us an answer and pop in when we have one. So heading down to Atlanta, boys. Heading down to Atlanta. We got this stadium we're rolling into, empty stadium. Falcons.
We got a winner, gents.
Oh,
we got a winner
already.
Michael Kinder with the
nice
winning score, 23-17. The Falcons won. So I was at the home opener, and yes, the Falcons did win 23-17. We were talking about it a little bit earlier before we hit the air. And Mike Glennon was the quarterback. I did see Joe Rivera say that. Had a chance to win. He threw a pass behind Jordan Howard at the one. Howard couldn't corral it. And unfortunately, the Bears went on to lose 23-17. Great experience. My daughter and I made the trek from lovely Oneida, New York to the wonderful confines of Soldier Field.
Yeah, buddy.
And it was a great trip for the two of us. Unfortunately, we didn't come out with the win. But congratulations to Michael Kinder, and we'll get that sticker out to you, Michael. Just shoot me a message on any of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm on all of them. Just search Ryan Badgley. You'll find me.
Well, you're sending that out to Japan now, so good luck with that. What's it called? Costello was so close, man. I seen it pop up, and I didn't want to say anything, but he was 1 point away from getting it right.
I saw it too.
Yeah, that Joe Moscone says that drop sealed Howard's fate with the Bears. Yes, it did.
Yep.
Yes, it did. And we almost seen the same thing in this last opening game where Swift went ahead.
Yeah.
Swift.
Yeah, it was almost an instant replay of all that. I do want to go into something real quick though. Did you guys see that they're saying that this is a false positive for?
I did see that. He's asymptomatic is what I saw. So he has the antibodies, but he doesn't have COVID. So I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know what that means. I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express. I was going to say that, but that's not true. I slept in my own house, but I think that's a good thing for him. So I mean, while he's on the COVID list, I don't know that he'll have to stay on very long.
Yeah, good thing for him and his family. Yeah, go ahead, AC.
I was just say that's great news for him. I'd rather play them with a starting corner than playing backups anyway. And even as a starter, they've given up a lot of points this season. So
and we had this conversation. Well, not us, but we had this conversation the other day. I had it with Ill Will 79 in Twitter. He's like, with Terrell down and this and that, Bears should be able to go in and destroy him. And I was like, dude, they haven't been playing that good anyway. Like they're one of the worst passing defenses in the league, and the Bears always seem to be that team that like something happens or they hurt somebody or whatever, and then this superstar is born in, like, you know, a la Russell Wilson. Damn, the
Colin
whole,
Kaepernick did that, didn't
Kaepernick, yeah. And I'm just like, the last thing we need is for something wild to happen, and then some next damn best thing is born, and we're,
Some undrafted free agent corner with like 4 picks.
and we're on the back end of it again, man. All right, let's roll into Atlanta. Getting into Atlanta, man. We got going there. There's no fans in the stadium. Obviously, the Bears decided to travel a little late again. Nagy's deal is he tries to keep them, you know, at least amount of contact in a different place as he can. So they traveled a little later again. But moving on to Atlanta, there was actually the presser this week. Nagy was asked about what he thinks about having no fans in the stands and if it's an advantage or not an advantage. Let's go ahead and cue that up, and then Badge, you can take it.
For sure, yeah, it's not. When you keep it, when you're honest about it, it's not at all. There's no advantage to the home team for the fans that are not there. I mean, I think about it, it's actually it's a disadvantage. Where I go back to last week for us against New York, it was 3rd and goal at the 1 and 4th and goal at the 1, and there was a timeout, and our defense is standing out there on the backed up at the 1 yard line with the offense in the huddle getting ready to go. There's a break. And it's dead quiet. And usually the crowd's going, it's loud, the players feed off of that. It's advantage defense. No way. It was completely advantage offense. It was, you know, like a scrimmage. That's hard. I don't know what it's like on TV here and that, but it's certainly different at the game. So I would say, yeah, there's no home field advantage at all because there's no one there.
Yeah, I got to agree. I mean, watching, you know, these first 2 games, it's got to suck for these players and these coaches. I mean, not having that extra noise to really block out anything at all. You know, watching last week's game at Soldier Field and it was weird. It was eerie. It was almost like watching Ant-Man, and how, you know, everything that happens in Ant-Man and all those people disappear in the Marvel movies, right? After Thanos does this thing with the
okay,
you know, that's what Soldier Field reminded me of. Except there was enough players to field a football team, and they played a game based off of it. Definitely weird. I think it's going to be an adjustment period for players and coaches alike, and you know, again, I probably said this 6 times now, there was no preseason. So they didn't get to test anything out really other than in practice or in the Walter Payton Center, you know, with crowd noise. And the crowd noise being pumped in, I mean, I don't know. They'd be better off not even doing it. Like,
I think it's at a certain decibel level. I don't know exactly what it is, but the whole NFL or whoever does it has to be at a certain decibel level, which then doesn't really play in a favor to anybody. I think the only thing, having fans in the stands, I don't think anybody's at a benefit or at a loss, right? I guess for the stadiums that are letting a few in, yeah, it could be somewhat of a benefit. Yeah. But I still believe that there's that home field advantage. There's like, you know, not the traveling, you know,
that home locker room.
You're comfortable with where you're at. And then a couple months from now, man, the weather is going to play a key for some of these teams. We see it every year. Home field advantage is still a plus when it comes to the later half of the season, where, you know, these guys come in and either haven't played in the snow, not a good team in the snow, or whatever. AC, what you got, man?
I kind of disagree with you about the crowd noise. I think the defense feeds off of that, and if you don't have it, I mean, I guess that's another tribute to our defense that they were able to stop the Giants at the end zone at the end of the game last week, because there's nobody there to feed off of. You just got to go out there and play. You got to stay in your lane and stay with your assignment. And I think some of the pass rush that's going on. I mean, how many defensive ends and outside linebackers are, you know, when they hit the quarterback? It's great, but if there's nobody there, I mean, I don't know. I've never experienced. How would that feel to to know you just made a huge play and you turn around and you can hear crickets. You know what I'm saying? And the pumped in crowd noise, I'm okay with it because it would just be, I don't know if I'd be able to watch it with no sound whatsoever. I mean, I guess it'd be cool to hear what the coaches are saying between plays and stuff, but I
think
just feel like it would be awkward.
I think it's going to be a complete change when, and if it happens at all this season, I think it'll be a lot different. If for some reason, let's say in November, right? Let's just pick November. I know I'm not saying this is going to happen, so relax in the chat with coming after me. But say they turn around and they say, hey, all fans are allowed back in the stands in November. November 4th, everybody can be back in the stands. I think that's definitely going to affect some teams who have then gone through and played, 6 weeks or 7 weeks and without having it. And then to throw that in there as an added stressor or just noise that kind of messes up your offense and your play calls and this and that, I think it's a big swing. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe they're all used to it, but it's definitely going to be different for the rookies on the field and how they play the game because they haven't yet to feel it and see where it's coming from. Yeah,
I would second that, Bob. Definitely think for rookie, coming into the league, they're definitely not used to. I mean, you have parents probably that if you're a college athlete and you live close by to where you go to school, your parents may watch you practice, kind of like high school. So some of these guys just coming into the NFL for the first time, this is a whole different ball game for them. And while it may be, similar in aspects of schedule and so on and so forth, this is a huge change for everyone. And I'm not I don't hate the crowd noise. I mean, it's nice to hear the celebration after a positive play from your home stadium. I found it very odd in Detroit, after the Bears were marching a comeback and you're hearing boos
The
and
fans
it's like,
are cheering.
Wait a minute. The Bears just scored. There would be more Bears fans than Lions fans in Detroit dominating that. It's same thing in Atlanta. Atlanta is a huge hub people could get to easily.
Yeah.
If there were fans there, I mean, the last time the Bears were in Atlanta, Bears fans dominated. Absolutely dominated. And, it's an adjustment for sure. I just hope when the time comes, I hope it's soon that there's fans back in the seats because it's definitely a different scenario right now.
Yeah, and I think it's just, we'll play it by ear and see how it goes. It's going to be a CDC thing, and it's going to come down to whenever, because everybody's going to play this on the politically correct side. I mean, unless you're John Gruden. I don't know if you guys seen that. I don't know if you guys seen that this morning, but Shefty said this morning how the Raiders had unauthorized visitors. They violated COVID protocol, and they had unauthorized visitors in their locker rooms and that during the Monday night game. And now the team is under investigation. So, I mean, unless you're Gruden, you're probably following the guidelines, but who knows, man? I think something like this happens, right? I think you kind of measure both sides. There's the people who don't believe in wearing masks. There's the people who believe in wearing masks. And there's the people that are like, well, it ain't going to hurt me to wear one, so I might as well just do it. So either way, man, I think there's a big political correctness to all this. There's a big kind of do the right thing just to be safe. And I don't know. I don't think we're going to see any fans back in the stands this season. I think we'll be lucky if we do. And, man, we'll see how this whole thing turns out. I don't know.
Yeah, I want to I want to read something here from the chat. Frank Carino. Anthony Miller will bounce back today and be the offensive X factor, and Roquan Smith will be the defensive X factor. Will at least one sack this game. You heard it first on the Barfly Tailgate show. So there you go, Frank.
Carino. Hell yeah, man. We need that bounce back from Miller. Let's roll into that, man. Let's roll into this offense going into Atlanta. We'll get into the defense. We got another video, from the interviews and that. Yeah, Dan Quinn's video about the defense. But let's start this thing off with the offense. and go from there, man. We're going against a team whose defense is beat up.
Yeah.
This is another should be a big game for Trubisky. You've seen some of these predictions out there saying like 5 touchdowns today for him, just passing alone. There's some people are putting it out there, man. But then the majority of people have the Bears losing. So I don't know. I guess if they come out, throw 5 touchdowns and lose, I'm still not okay with it. I'm going to be pissed, but it'll be a good sign to get that offense going again. How do you see this thing working out going into Atlanta, AC? What are some matchups you like? What do you want to see happen here?
Well, as far as our offense goes, I'd love to see us run the ball and keep that Atlanta offense off the field as long as we can. Get our tight ends involved. And like the guy was saying, Anthony Miller is – I'd say all of our wide receivers have the ability to have a big game. Even if A.J. Terrell plays, Dak Prescott tore these guys up, as did Russell Wilson. Now, I don't know if Trubisky is – I know he's not at Russell Wilson's level, but I don't know if he's at Dak Prescott's level. But they're – and a big thing about the Falcons defense is Takk McKinley, who is their biggest pressure guy, their best defensive end, in my opinion. He is questionable with a groin injury. Questionable. I don't know. It hasn't been downgraded to doubtful or anything like that I've seen. Well, I haven't really been on Twitter since we started the show, so if anything has changed, I guess y'all can let us know in the chat. But I'm thinking that's got a big emphasis on how our offense is going to play today, and I think our offense is going to do well. This team gave up 40 points to the Cowboys last week, and they gave up, I think, 40-something to the Seahawks as well. So we're going to have the ability to move the ball. And a lot of Falcons fans that I've heard through crossover podcasts and stuff throughout the week trying to get ready for this game, we're kind of talking them off a ledge here with Dan Quinn. It sounds a lot like the John Fox in his last year, where they're kind of like, well, if this continues to go south, we might be having a new coach in the middle of the season and stuff. Dan Quinn was a guy that I really liked. I actually wanted him here in Chicago when we were looking for a coach. And it's not working out for him so well in Atlanta, and they don't give you a whole lot of time.
I know, and I think these dudes have been pretty brutal, man. If you've seen some of their chats and some of their Reddit threads and that, these Atlanta fans, they're funny and they're like, Trubisky and all the doubters are gonna be, whatever, when he puts up 500 passing yards and 5 touchdowns, and we end up blowing the lead, and still he's gonna suck because we'll be 0-3 then. They're funny fans, man, and I like the interaction with them. I think they're all, reasonable, right? I don't think there's any, I guess, homers, you would say, but you have your diehards, but they're just not homer like you get from like Lions fans and shit like that. I think Trubisky is gonna come out and blow it up and have a great game. This is a team that's they're giving up 372 yards a game. It's just, if you can't go in there and pick them apart, especially with Mooney, and Dante Fowler Jr., he's injured. Their defense,
he's questionable too.
Yeah, he's questionable, man. And then you got their rookie DB is now out. It's just the perfect storm of opportunity. And if we can't get in there and get Cole another catch, maybe a big play, and just kind of tear apart this defense and just take it apart piece for piece. I think, I don't know, if you're an offensive coordinator or head coach, man, this is the game. This is another
get right game for your offense.
It's another great layup game on the road where you kind of go out there and do it. Bottom line, you got there, use promo code BARROOM20. No exclamation point on there. Just BARROOM20 at manscaped.com. Use the promo code for 20% off and free shipping on any of your purchases. I'm going to leave it at that for now. We're going to have some big, big stuff for you guys with the whole Manscaped thing and the plans that we got for them this season. But, your boys want to see the field too. let your boys see the field.
Yes, they do.
Clear the landscape, let your boys see the field. And for those of you that ain't comfortable with it, there's no fans in stands, so nobody else is going to see it. You know what I'm saying? Just
I've heard it's not bad for a beard trimmer either.
Dude, I heard the same thing. Like the people that I've been talking to are telling me that like they use it for everything, man. Like shave their head, shave whatever. Like, yeah. The one dude was like, I don't even change the head on it. I just rinse it off. He's like, you can bring that thing in the shower with you, and it just runs perfectly. It's made to be used underwater. And I was like, hell yeah, let's get it.
Yeah, ladies too. If you got a man who ain't taking care of himself, maybe
Christmas
you need to buy him a gift.
Yeah, Christmas is around the corner, but we'll have some big things from you with Manscaped and with Audacia, another soon-to-be sponsor of the Barfly Tailgate Show. We got a couple more things out there, and all this adds up to listeners, live chat giveaways. You guys are here with us. You're always here with us. There's 70 some of you in the chat right now. We appreciate it, and all this is just coming back to you guys. Badge, Falcons defense.
Well, I want to tell you guys a little bit about this Bears-Falcons series before I get into the Falcons defense. So the Bears and Falcons have met a total of 27 times, and the Bears lead that head-to-head 14-13. Obviously, the last time they played, the home opener in 2017 at Soldier Field, where the Falcons were able to pull out a win 23-17 over our beloved Chicago Bears. The Falcons defense, that's right. That's what I'm talking about, the Falcons defense.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about whatever the hell you want. There ain't no rules.
So they are beat up. Their defense in that back end has had the snot beat out of it. Obviously, AJ Terrell. They are ranked 31st in the league, and I know the talk is all about Mitch and how he can really show up and show out against the Falcons, but at the same time, we heard that we expect certain things and things don't always go the way we want them to. I don't see Mitch throwing 5 touchdowns today. I just don't see it.
I don't think that'll be the game plan to throw that much, to be honest.
I don't either. I think they're doing a nice job of mixing things up, using their run effectively to set up their pass game and the play action pass. I think you'll see more of that. To me, I think the Falcons defense is probably going to try to key on this run game, so they have to force Mitch to throw the ball. Now, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe if they do shut the run down, maybe Mitch will come out like he did against Tampa in 18 and throw 6 tutties. I mean, I certainly wouldn't complain if he did that.
I mean, if we drop a 50 burger today, I'm good with it.
I mean, dude, I'm all for it. I would love to see it. But you kind of got to be realistic. And we've put up 27 points and 17 points. We're not burning down buildings here and scoring like the Falcons offenses. I mean, I hate to say it, but the number 1 scoring team in the NFL right now is the goddamn green and yellow. And I hate it because on the week 1 show, I said,
but hold up. If they're going to discount us for playing the Lions, they played the Lions and the Vikings who are falling apart. So
2-0-2
let's
teams.
just discount. Yeah. Let's just discount the Packers too. How about that?
Well, I did in week 1, and then I watched them put up over 40 twice, and I'm like, oh man, I didn't think they'd be able to do that. But touche, they really, have 2-0-2 teams, as you guys just said. So, this Falcons defense, I think they need to focus on the run and try to stop Montgomery, Patterson, and Cohen. Will they be able to do that? I don't think so. I just think that our offense has finally figured out the kinks and will start to continue to work on the execution. And I think that, I don't think this will be easy, but I think it'll be a little bit easier than the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big game. The Falcons have only got 3 takeaways this season. I think that, puts a little more comfort level on Mitch. They're obviously horrible in the passing game. Our running game has been on point. So we come out and we just start pounding away, right? And then and then open it up for Mitch, man. Make this a comfortable game. Make this I won't say a get right game because we've been pretty good. I would say a couple of the interceptions that Mitch has thrown so far were kind of jump balls. I wouldn't even call them 50-50 balls. I'd call them 80-20. And we just, somebody was in the casino and they got lucky on us.
Yeah, that second one definitely was the first one, but the second one for sure. A-Rob's got to hang on to that. He admitted that in his press conference this week. He said, that's my ball. I should have came away with it. So, it's going to happen. I mean, the people that took to Twitter saying A-Rob wasn't playing as hard and that's because he's trying to shut the fuck up. Yeah. Oh, you people just, oh God, we should just do a show on the constant bullshit that's on Twitter on the regular.
Oh yeah. Well, people are looking at what he likes and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like he's liking stuff. And the contract may be playing a little bit in the back of his head, but he's still out there putting forth his full effort. Bradbury was playing above his level that we're used to seeing him play last week. I did not expect A-Rob to be held in check, and he was, and it wasn't any fault of his own. It was the defense just going out there playing defense.
Yeah.
They had a game plan.
I'll agree, man. I don't think I don't think the contract affects him in game because I think the mentality of the player just overcomes it. And when the game's not being played, sure, why not? Throughout the week, I think it does. Maybe it affects his preparation a little bit, but I don't think it affects his in game. And since we're on the subject, man, we talked to A-Rob's agent last week. During the week, and I won't say he didn't specifically say it, but there's nothing coming. There's not an extension coming down that I believe. The way that he sounded right in his demeanor with it is that there's not really going to be an extension, and he's going to wait for the front office to decide something. Seeing Tariq get extended and not A-Rob, I don't know the monetary level that he's going for, right? But seeing Tariq get extended and not A-Rob, seeing, we're bringing Snacks in this week after he visits with Seattle, I just think that they're playing this wrong, man. I think that it's not, they're not playing it to where it's favoring the organization. And I think it's, something that we could really bite us in the ass later on, man.
They're making a big mistake here by dicking around with their number one receiver. We talked about it last week. The impact that he has on this team, if he's not here as the number one receiver.
You got Anthony Miller as your number one.
Yeah. And you're still hearing him, run wrong routes. You heard it, on the third down throw this past week, and then obviously the end zone drop. So this is a different team without Allen Robinson here, and this would be a huge, huge error on Ryan Pace, Ted Phillips, George McCaskey's part if they don't get this deal done and keep this man in a Bears uniform for another few years, because the offense isn't the same without him.
Well, I talked to Bobby about this on Twitter. The only thing I could think is that Ryan Pace must feel like he's always with every player and throughout since he's been with the Bears. He has a price where he's not willing to go above. And I don't know if A-Rob's wanting Julio and Michael Thomas money and we're just not willing to go that level, or if Pace feels like he's replaceable via the draft, which is always a crapshoot, even with a top 10 pick, or if he's thinking about maybe we need to pay a quarterback next year, whether it's Foles or Trubisky, or if we draft somebody. I really don't. I can't tell you Pace's mindset, but I'm wondering if all of these things are factoring into this being such a long holdout. He also may be thinking, well, I could just franchise tag him next year, and if he doesn't want to stay, we can trade him. If
Yeah.
And that gives us an extra year to work out a deal, knock out a contract.
Yeah, and I know we kind of talked about it with the whole COVID thing and not knowing what the salary cap's going to be next year. I mean, all this could potentially play into it, right? But I think if that's your mentality as an organization, then you don't go out and extend Tariq. I honestly think
I didn't understand the Tariq extension. I'm sorry.
I think they tried to save face. I think they tried to save face with it, but it actually kicked him in the ass. And this is the perfect time. For those of you who don't know in the chat, the Allen Robinson Foundation Within Reach is a sponsor of the Barfly Tailgate Show. And we just want Ryan Pace to keep Allen Robinson within reach.
Simple as that.
Hey everyone, Ryan Badgley from the Barfly Tailgate Show, and football season is kicking off. And I know you feel like I do, so to steal a phrase from WWE superstar Daniel Bryan, yes, yes, yes. And I also know you are like me and you love the work Allen Robinson is putting out on the football field, but also off the field. That's why we're so pleased to partner with the Allen Robinson Within Reach Foundation. Their work provides educational opportunities and resources to low-income and inner-city Chicago students to help put success within reach. How can you help? Immediately you can visit allenrobinson12.org and learn more about what they are doing and make a donation. If you can't donate money, can you donate your time? The foundation is always looking for volunteers. And please let others know about their great work. In the coming weeks, the Barroom Network will hold some fundraising efforts, and we hope that you'll be a part of those. And again, let your family and friends know. Now, how about them Chicago Bears? I'm so psyched up for this season. I think A-Rob has 100 catches and double-digit touchdowns. Now let's bear down.
Yeah, I'm hoping that really comes to fruition here with A-Rob. Double-digit touchdowns, 1,000 yards, 100 catches. I really need to see that. And the Cohen extension, I mean, to me, he hadn't done enough to warrant it. You know, I don't know if this was done on, you know, oh, well, he's going to have a big year.
Yeah. I feel like he was replaceable in the draft. You could have saved money on that.
Yep. Well, you know, it's funny. I was talking with George Berlissimo yesterday on Twitter about Josh Kelly. When I was at the Senior Bowl, I fell absolutely in love with Josh Kelly. And you look what he's doing out there in LA, that was Tariq's replacement right there. He's a little bit bigger than Tariq too. And, you know, would have loved to have seen him in a Bears uniform for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're just kind of, I don't know. I mean, I guess with Tariq, they're happy with what they got. They thought it was, you know, minimal money to extend him, but I just think there's players, and don't get me wrong, I like Tariq. I like what he does. I mean, shit, our dog's name is Cohen. You know what I mean? Like it's not that we don't like. I just think there's a lot of players with that same skill set. Whether or not Pace feels that way, I guess not. I think that they feel that he's got what they want, and if that's the way that he wants to go, man, then I'm all for it. Let him run from there. Let's run into this Falcons offense. Let's get ready to bring these fantasy football guys in from the Fantasy Football Goon. They'll be joining us in probably about 20 minutes or so. We'll bring them in. We'll talk about, you know, your starts and sits for this week. But this Falcons offense, man, they've been ridiculous. I mean, granted, you could turn around and say one reason they've been ridiculous is because their defense has been horrid, and they just kind of have to keep up in the game, right? Yeah. And they kind of remind you, you know, of not in the win column, but Kansas City last year. Kansas City's defense was getting destroyed at the beginning of the year, and they were just constant shootouts. I'm hoping that this game doesn't go to a shootout, right? Because who the hell would want that? But Ryan's putting up like 350 passing yards a game.
Yep.
It's going to be a huge test for Jalen Johnson, Kyle Fuller, Eddie, you know, back there. And honestly, with Hayden Hurst coming their tight end, man, we've seen we've seen our you know, Danny T. We've seen some of these guys try to cover these guys and out in the flats and that and coming out, and it hasn't really gone so well. What's your guys' thoughts on this Falcons offense? How do we stop them? Who's the matchups? Who needs to just be completely shut down in order to take this victory?
let's look at some of the numbers here, guys. So Matt Ryan on the season is 61-90 for 723 yards, 6
Yeah.
touchdowns, and 1 interception. So he's balling out right now. I definitely think the Bears are going to have to get after him and get after him early, hit him. You know, Matt Ryan is not a mobile quarterback in any way, shape, or form, and they're going to have to hit him and not, knock him off his base and really frustrate him. He will throw interceptions. He will. If he's pressured and he wants to get rid of the football, he will throw it up for grabs. And to me, the defense needs to be in his face consistently, and really, knock him off his base. Excuse me. And I think they have a good chance.
Yeah, I agree. The Falcons' offense really worries me. Our defense has played really well thus far this year, and hopefully that will continue. But Julio's questionable, which that helps. Their injury report is so long this week, which is great for us, I guess. I think both their tackles are questionable as well. So Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn are going to be taking on backups again. But Calvin Ridley has been freaking. I mean, I got him on my fantasy team. He's been balling the freak out.
Yeah.
And like you spoke about Hayden Hurst earlier too, and we're talking about all these passing weapons. Meanwhile, they've got Todd Gurley, who's not what he was,
Yeah.
at the start of his career, but like he's still a very good running back. So they've got so many weapons on this offense, and they can attack you in so many different ways. And like we've said, all this season, Danny Trevathan seems like Father Time's catching up with him, which sucks. I love Danny. He was a Kentucky guy. As soon as he got signed with the Bears, I went out, got his jersey, got his T-shirt jersey. I mean, so I'm a Danny Trevathan guy, but it just seems like Father Time always wins, man, at some point. And I don't
Yeah.
know how they're
Agreed.
going to be able to cover him up in coverage, but they got to do something.
Yeah, agree, man. There's a lot of people in the chat talking about it too. Rivera's in there talking about it. People are talking about putting Bush in for Danny and just let Bush cover Hurst. I think Danny's even come out and said, like, hey, he knows that he's, not fulfilling the potential that he's supposed to. I don't know. Maybe this is, and I hate to put it out there and I hate for people to run with it, but maybe this is a discipline issue. Maybe he didn't prep himself in the offseason like everybody else did. Maybe he just wasn't ready. Maybe he just wasn't ready for the start of this season. Who knows? But then, like you said, with Calvin Ridley's put up 239 yards, 4 touchdowns. Dude is going off, man. And Eddie Jackson, college teammate of Ridley, had some thoughts, to say about it in the presser. Let's go ahead and drop that thing in here.
Last year he was off to a good start. They ended up getting hurt, so it set him back. But this year I feel like he got a chip on his shoulder. He want to come out and play all 16 weeks in. Just the type of receiver he is. He's elusive. His route running ability is great. He's fast. He's quick in and out of his breaks. And, we just got to stay on top of him. And I feel like we got to put our hands on him, get him at the line. Because when you let him get that open space, man, it's going to be tough. So for us, we just got to stay on top of him, hit him, just try to get him frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, college teammates, man. Ridley's coming out and he's doing it. Obviously, he's got a lot of respect for him and the way that he's playing the game, right? And I think it's going to fire Eddie up today to kind of, okay, let me show this dude what he's got. And you got the brotherly rivalry, I guess, if you want to call it that. They're both on opposite teams. Not that we're getting a lot of stuff out of there, but. A big game, big time to show out. And who doesn't like playing against their friends? We've all played in sports as kids and, as youths and that. And when you're going up against one of your best friends or a kid that there's always a little more, spice added to the game and a little more, shit talking, if you will.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And is Riley Ridley, y'all think he'll be active today or – I mean, he hasn't
been.
I
haven't seen him in the first 2 games. So
like a healthy scratch the first couple of weeks, wasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, we even got something for that too about Riley Ridley and not playing. I mean, if we want to prep that one up, I don't know. I don't think he's going to be playing today. I think if he's playing today, it's a horrible coaching decision because it's more heart than mind. I think if they put him out there today, it's only so the Ridley brothers are on the field at the same time, or not the same time, but during the same game. So I think it's a little more heart than mind choice at that point. And who knows, man? I mean, I don't think the actives haven't come out yet. They should come out in 12 minutes. We should get it. So who knows, man? We can drum up and put what Matt Nagy had to say about Riley Ridley and what he thinks about his 3rd round pick.
Yeah, Riley's done a really good job at being able to just be a professional. I love his attitude. I love the way he practices every day. He's really close. Right now for us, it's just a little bit more of a numbers thing. And I talk to Riley every day in practice when he's out there with the look team, and we're always watching to see how guys react to different situations. And I'm excited about what his future looks like here. You guys saw a little bit at the end of last year with how he produced for us in that last game. He has a phenomenal attitude. He's improving every day, and I think it just creates more depth for us. And as far as the mentality of going back home and with his brother being on the other side, I haven't felt that at all other than him just being focused right now. I like where he's at. He's probably frustrated. I think that's normal to feel that way, but his time is coming, and we have a lot of faith in him.
I mean, I think they have to. I thought Riley at the end of last season, I mean, that Vikings game, you saw the catch he had there on the crossing route. I thought he would replace Ted Ginn, quite honestly. And then now last week you saw Ginn and Ridley both not playing, and it's Mooney who stepped up. So, Nagy says he's close. I believe it. I thought he was there at the end of last season. Maybe it's one of those things, as you mentioned, Bobby, about Trevathan. Maybe he didn't put in as much work in the offseason, and he's trying to get himself back. I really hope to see him on the field soon. I definitely don't think it'll be today, but I definitely think in the future he's somebody who can really make an impact on this roster.
Yeah, and I don't think we really, I won't say really need him right now, right? He is a 3rd round pick. You'd want him to play, right? But he's a developmental. Obviously, I think it's proven he's a developmental already, right? Otherwise, he would have been playing last year. Mooney coming out. Mooney's getting a lot of snaps, man. And if a kid's on a high like that and he's catching on, then you roll with the hot hand. And I think that's the way to do it, man. Keep the hot hand going. Keep, let this kid show what he can do, because that confidence in that coming in is huge for him and for the longevity and for the rest of his career. I think just coming out with a season like this is going to be big. Anthony Miller came out with just a bomb first season, rookie, like 9 touchdowns, right? Went off. And then he had the shoulder stuff. And I think he started off good this season so far, but then had the drop last week, right? Or the 2 of them, and had, just kind of fell off. I see a big game coming from Miller. I think Miller's going to shine today, man. Mooney, JD Koba says maybe Mooney's just more explosive. And Mooney is absolutely more explosive.
Oh, yeah.
He's he's a different kind of receiver. Go ahead, AC.
Well, the thing with Mooney, coming out of the draft, like going into the draft, I had no idea who this guy was. I'm going to be honest. I had done no research. Once we drafted him, I started doing some research, and he looked like a speed guy. So I'm thinking go routes, post routes, something like that. But his route running has really, I don't know if it's improved, but it's really caught me off guard with how well he runs his routes in the NFL level. And that's a tribute to our wide receivers coach, Mike Fury, having him in the right position. Hogan Johns was talking about, going back to Allen Robinson, there was a comeback route that he ran, and it became an incompletion or an interception or something. Somehow it got broken up. But I guess on the next drive, they ran the exact same play and had Mooney do that comeback route, and he was like 2 yards deeper than Allen Robinson was. So they were saying, perhaps Mooney, because of coaching, was in the correct position. Like, I guess as soon as he turned around, the ball was there. And with Robinson, it became a fight, with the corner to try to get the ball. So, and not to say that, don't take me out of context here. Not saying I don't want Allen Robinson here. I'm just saying shout out to Mooney. His route running has impressed me.
Yeah.
Like I said, I thought he was just going to be a run down the field, we'll throw it up to you guy, and he's really been working hard to use his route running to help him get open as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that twitch, he's got that twitch to where if you're covering him and he fakes one way and hits the other, it's hard to keep up with, man. You have to kind of over pursue this kid to stay in front of him or to stay in coverage with him. The broken play, his touchdown was a broken play.
Yeah.
He was running a different route and he came back because Mitch was scrambling. To see that out of a rookie and to see that mindset, right, to especially on a team where, I mean, I guess to put it in just blatantly, where they bitch about route running, right, where you have openly heard your coach come out and say that this wide receiver wasn't running the proper route. For him as a rookie to adjust on a broken play and run a different route than what he was assigned just because he knew that Mitch was, pushed out of the pocket, just I think says there's so much more to this kid that we've really touched on or can touch on. I mean, come on, we're only in week 3. So I just think that this kid is really above rookies, especially 5th round picks. He's above rookies where he's at his level and where and how he understands the game.
Go ahead, AC. I thought you were chiming in there.
No, that's I think we covered it there.
Well, we can move on. Yeah, we can move on from them, man. I think we roll through these tight ends real quick, right? We talk a little bit tight ends. We got to talk about Cole Kmet getting his first catch. We'll take some word from the chat. I know Pusha T said, what did he say? Not that I'd trade A-Rob because I don't really like that, even though I get it, man. Pusha T was in the chat. He had said something about
A. Miller better catch every ball coming his way today.
There you go.
Yeah.
And we kind of touched on that earlier with Anthony. I mean, I think that kid, he holds a lot against himself, right? He doesn't let the last play be the last play. He kind of holds it against himself and doesn't just move on. But either way, I think Miller is
Oh, Joe, you're killing me with that, man.
I don't like that, Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, I love me some Mike Fury, man.
Yeah,
I think he does a nice job with these wideouts, man. I don't think it's Fury at all, personally speaking. I think Fury is another coach on this roster who gets the best out of his players. And I just think he's a phenomenal coach. And, I mean, this is a guy who played both ways in the NFL. He knows what he's talking about, and I don't think it's Fury that's the issue here at all.
He was the one that brought out the title belt in training camp, wasn't he?
Yep.
To build competition between wide receivers and defensive backs.
Yeah, for sure, man. He provides another fire, and I don't know if you guys follow him on Twitter or whatever, but he's an inspirational dude, man.
Yes, he is.
Sometimes that can be a little overkill, right? I don't know how often he uses it or whatever, but if he's always coming in with a quote or whatever, right? Or every one of his responses is some sort of like the art of war shit, people get sick of that. But if he's a real dude and just, he's passionate and that stuff happens, then whatever. I think the belt's a great thing. I think it shows his personality. And I agree with Joe Moscone. I think the wide receivers really seem to appreciate Furry, man. I think he's a big addition, and I think he's like, has that group on a little more confident level than we've seen in the past. And rolling into tight ends though, Cole Kmet got his first catch, man. We have a little drop from you for the presser with Cole, but he gets his first catch, even though the week prior to we seen him run a route where Mitch kind of looked at him like, what the fuck are you doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah. And then we seen him come out and he got his first little snag as an NFL player. Let's go to the cold drop and then we'll go ahead and roll in with it, Badger.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of patience. Going from being the guy to now kind of being in the learning position right now with obviously two vets ahead of me in terms of Demetrius and Jimmy is something that I got to learn to be patient with, and something that I'm fully embracing right now. So yeah, it definitely takes a lot of patience, and just I got to use it to my advantage. During the week, just being able to learn from these guys is just invaluable. So just kind of making the most of it right now, and continue to improve each day, and staying patient during this whole process. I think I've proved to myself at least that I can play at this level. So I think being out in the field with those type of guys and these type of athletes, it's been cool for me to see, and I feel like I definitely belong up on this level. So I think that's been pretty cool.
Love Cole Kmet. He comes in, he puts his head down, he works. I definitely think he is going to be a great addition to this Bears offense. And, his first reception last week is just step one of him having a great rookie season. I think rookie tight ends are always a little slow to start. He's getting his feet wet. Now they're wet. We're week 3. I really think big things are coming for Cole Kmet.
Yeah, and I think this whole go ahead.
It definitely takes time for tight ends to come into the NFL and make a huge impact. You don't see a lot of rookie tight ends exploding, but he's done well, and he's only going to improve from here. But the one thing I noticed, he's got a Gillette sponsorship of some sort. He needs to tighten up those eyebrows a little bit, bro. He's working on a unibrow a little bit there.
Dude, I seen that Gillette commercial too, and I was like, does this dude even have facial hair yet? Like, he looks like he's got such a damn baby face, but yet he's doing Gillette commercials. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know, man. I just thought it wasn't the best approach, but whatever, man. He's getting money, so good for him. I think the whole tight end conversation from earlier in the season has been put to rest. I think that's over with. Right? People bitching about Jimmy's contract, people saying he shouldn't have drafted here, there, whatever. I think that's really over with. We all know that this offense needs tight ends to operate. They have to be that underneath. They have to be that threat. We haven't had that in the years past, and I see big things coming for this kid. And honestly, like we said, I think Graham has a great season, man. And
I think we see a lot of Graham today. I put him in my DFS lineup because he was a really cheap option, and I was like, let's throw him in there, see if he gets a couple tutties or something.
Yeah, man. I mean, why not? Especially against this defense who's given up.
Right, exactly.
Right. So I think it's a good play. It's a big play. I've seen people saying that they're going to start Mitch in their lineups just because.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get into game predictions, score predictions, bold predictions. We'll get into all that. We got our fantasy football goon guys joining the show here shortly. We're going to bring in Goon and the Tooch. They're going to tell you who to start and sit, your fantasy lineups. They're going to tell you who the good matchups, bad matchups, who's injured or who's possibly questionable. That's a game time decision, Julio. And, just kind of waiting to get this thing going. I'm going to go ahead and it's been a few years. But here we go. Stand by for Bobby Bomb's acapella. Goon and the Tooch, Tooch and the Goon, two dudes with a fantasy in a bar room. Ain't saying it's gay, but it could be a bit. They're about to tell you who to start and sit. I said Goon and the Tooch, Tooch and the Goon.
There they are.
There they are.
And Joseph,
what's up?
Welcome to the show, boys. How you guys doing this morning?
Hello, man. What's going on, guys?
What's up, guys?
Not much, boys. Just getting ready.
Game day. Let's go. It is game day. Let's go.
I know.
It's time to smoker going, AC. I got a lot of meat in the smoker. Vegetables, meat. Getting ready for a little tailgate at noon.
Damn straight.
Brisket and chicken, all sorts of good stuff.
That's not all Tooch is smoking.
Woo! Spaceball came over, Joe.
That's right.
All right, fellas, let us get your your weekly fantasy insight, your expertise. These dudes, they stay on. I mean, they know all this fantasy stuff, man. They got probably, I don't know, they definitely got bigger brains than me, but they probably got papers full of papers on dudes and who's playing who and what's, the upcoming matchups. They're probably looking weeks ahead. I know there's been a lot of injuries, man. This injury bug is killing people. This waiver wire stuff, right? People out there snatching people up.
Oh yeah.
I guess let's just start with with starts. Who's got the big matchups this week? Who do you guys see, coming in and just putting up them points and getting people over the top? I'm not really one to talk fantasy. I'm 0-2 right now. I'm playing the Badger today. So why don't you guys go ahead and Joe, if you want to take it, or Tooch, whoever wants to start, man, give us who you think are the big starts for today.
Go ahead, Joe.
All right, man. So it's a guy that kind of burst onto the scene. New England gave him a shot, and he's taking every single advantage of it. Cam Newton against the Raiders today. I think he's going to go crazy. He's probably going to rush for over 100 yards. I imagine he's probably going to throw for at least 2 touchdowns. So I love Cam Newton today. And when it comes to the running backs, I got to take my guy, the guy I've been preaching about all offseason, James Conner, going against the Texans. I really like him this week. I expect him to have a big day. And a wide receiver, I'm going to go with the guy that Tooch and I have been praising all year, and that's Terry McLaurin against the Browns.
That was mine, Joe.
I stole it. Sorry, Tooch. I absolutely love him as a PPR machine. He's so good. It's a shame he's on the Washington football team, but it is what it is. And then for tight end, I'm going to dig deep in my pockets here, Tooch. I'm going to go with Logan Thomas going against the Browns. This is a guy who kind of burst onto the scene. I expect him to be a good tight end for the whole season. He's not going to be a top 5, but I like him to finish inside the top 10. Love his matchup this week against the Browns, who are horrible against the tight end. So those are my guys that you got to start.
All right, man. Well, I heard you talking about one of my guys. You got to get into the lineup as a sleeper. Is Joshua Kelly against the Panthers defense. Oh, yeah. He's getting plenty of touches. He's in the top of the NFL in red zone touches and goal line touches. Mm-hmm. So this is a game you're going to get Josh Kelly in the lineup against the Panthers today. And of course, Joe mentioned McLaurin. I think this is the game where you kind of realize that he's got to be in your starting lineup every week. So I've got some numbers for you for the Bears Falcons. The team that's the worst against the quarterback is the Atlanta Falcons. So
yeah.
Mitchell Trubisky, get Mitchell in there. If you're streaming quarterbacks or daily fantasy, Mitchell Trubisky, and one of their cornerbacks just tested positive for COVID, so they're probably a little worse than 30th, Bobby. They're 32nd. They're the worst against the quarterback. Fantasy quarterback.
Bears will be sneaky good in fantasy today, guys. That Falcons team is so banged up. I agree with tactics on the screen right there. I like David Montgomery to have a huge game today. This is the day that you finally get justification for taking him where you did in the draft. Maybe you took him early, maybe you got him late because of the injury, but I love our guy David Montgomery. Look for him to have a big day on the gridiron, boys.
All right, so on the flip side of it, though, who's got the bad days? Who are bad days coming from? We know from our personal love for the game that the Bears have shut quarterbacks down. They're giving quarterbacks some of the worst QBRs in the league when they face them. I know Matty Ice has come out and he's torched up the last 2 weeks, right? So besides, if I had him, I probably wouldn't play him. Maybe I'm totally wrong. That's why I'm 0-2. But hey, who are some of your guys sits for the week? We'll start this one with you, Tooch. Who are you sitting this week? Who's a guy that you are the matchup isn't favorable, or you just haven't seen what you thought you'd see out of him in the first 2 weeks?
Well, I'm going to sit the Cleveland running backs against that Washington front seven. Those that is a good front seven. Defensive line is very underrated. You got guys like Chase Young and Jonathan Allen, Ryan Kerrigan, and they are shutting down the running backs. So I might think about sitting Nick Chubb. It's pretty hard to because he's probably a guy that you drafted in the first, second round. So think about that. And then against the quarterbacks, like you said, the Bears are number 2 in the NFL against the quarterback fantasy wise. So think about sitting Matt Ryan if you've got other options. I think the Bears that's where they're gonna make their hay today. Everyone says they got to put up a lot of points against the Falcons. We'll see if the Bears can keep that scoring. They certainly got to score more than 17 points, Bobby. But this would be the week to do it against that Atlanta defense. You know, I like Allen Robinson in this game as well.
Joe, who you got for your sits?
Yeah, so my sits, guys. I'm going to go with all of the wide receivers that are playing on the Texans, going against that tough Steelers defense. Sit Will Fuller, sit Brandon Cooks. I don't like any of those guys. That defense is so good. Deshaun Watson's going to be running for his life again. So I don't like any of those guys. And then, of course, you know, I'm going to go with a guy who's been huge to start the season for the Panthers and Robbie Anderson. But I think you got to sit him against that really, really tough Chargers secondary. That team has been so good on defense. They shut down the Chiefs last week. The Chiefs somehow still pulled out that game, but I don't like Robbie Anderson to repeat his success this week. So leave Robbie on the bench.
Yeah, definitely, man. And then let's go with, so those are your starts and sits. You guys got a DraftKings lineup ready for us, or a lineup that's going to make some people some money during this time? You guys got some, you know, some big money bets or points bet? You guys seen this week points bet actually teamed up with the Chicago Bears. So give us some of your intel, some of your money making schemes. Who's the perfect lineup going into today?
You got to get Cowboys wide receivers in there, I would say, today. Try and get CeeDee Lamb.
And Tooch, another guy that I think is getting great value on DraftKings is Kyler Murray for the Arizona Cardinals, going up against that horrendous Detroit secondary, and he's going to use his legs. I look for Kyler to have a huge day. Last time I checked on DraftKings, I think he was going for 6,300, which is a huge deal for a quarterback of his caliber. I look for him to have possibly the best week in fantasy this week. And I think he's going to easily put up at least 30 fantasy points with a ceiling of closer to 50. He could have 3 total touchdowns just himself.
I've got a DraftKings lineup here. If you guys want to tell me if I'm going to be $100,000 richer next week.
All right, tell me.
I spent up for Russell Wilson because I think he's just going to go off against that Dallas defense. So he was 7,300. I threw in Jonathan Taylor because he's going against the Jets. I grabbed him for 7,000, so I spent a little for him too. So I went a little lower, and I got David Montgomery for 5,700 because, like you guys said, I feel like he's going to have a good game. And then my first wide receiver I stacked. I grabbed DK Metcalf to stack with Russell Wilson to double my chances.
All right.
I grabbed Odell. I grabbed Odell in my other wide receiver position because I was kind of trying to save a little bit of money. He was 6,300. And my third wide receiver position, I grabbed Deontay Johnson because that Houston defense is just not very good. And I feel like Big Ben is. Yeah, well, I got him for 5,400, so that was a steal. Tight end, I threw in Jimmy Graham because, as I mentioned earlier, I think we're going to use him quite a bit this week, and he was only 3,400. And then in my flex position, I went with Zach Ertz just because I feel like he's good for a touchdown or two, and I was kind of running short on money at that point, honestly. And then my defense is the Cardinals because they're playing against the Lions today, and I think they can have a chance to, as Vic Fangio would say, get their hands on more balls.
Definitely a lot of balls to go around. I love that. I think you're going to have some success with that, AC. I do.
I'll let you guys know if I'm rich next week.
You're always
I haven't
rich in our
put
books.
mine together yet, but I plan on playing some action today sometime. Getting the meat into the smoker took a lot of time, Bobby.
Hey,
Well,
I mean, you got priorities. You know what I'm saying? You got to get in there and get it going, man. Got to feed the family. Join these guys. Join the Goon and the Tooch every Tuesday night for the Fantasy Football Goon Show. They break down players. They're going just back and forth, man. Some big names, big. They call out guys before the rest of us even see them. Boys, the last thing I'm going to get from you is your matchup of the week. Who's the highest scoring matchup of the week? What defense would you just sit down or just who's your highest scoring matchup of the week this week?
Got to be the Cowboys and Seahawks. That's going to be the highest point total, I think. Would you say, Joe?
I'd say it's probably either that game or the Cardinals versus the Lions. I think both of those games are going to be very high scoring. I think
you better sit the Lions defense. If you're starting the Lions defense, you're in trouble.
Yeah, don't do that. But I love both those games. That Cowboys Seahawks game is going to be incredible. I can't wait to watch that. I think Russ goes crazy. I think Dak goes crazy. And I'm telling you guys, watch Kyler Murray. He's going to have a huge day, and I'm going to be very happy because I have him on a lot of fantasy teams.
All right, boys. We appreciate you guys joining the show. Everybody in the chat, follow at FFB Goon on Twitter. Follow Joe. Follow John Santucci. These boys are always coming with it, like we said. And then join them every Tuesday night for the Fantasy Football Goon Show. Boys, have a great Sunday, man. Yeah. Appreciate all your guys' insight. And bear down.
Let's get a Bears victory.
Bear down, boys. Hopefully Julio doesn't go today. Right, AC?
I heard
I got him on my bench because I don't think he'll, even if he does play, I think he'll be a decoy. So.
I agree.
Sit Todd Gurley today.
Ooh, sit Todd Gurley. I don't think Julio's playing today. I think Julio's a wrap. I think it gives Dan Quinn more reason to go 0-3 and not have his star players on the field and not get fired. So yeah, right. I think he's just not going to be out there today. Boys, we appreciate it, man. We'll be talking to you guys during the game. And, as always, man, we appreciate you guys coming out.
All right. Good show, man.
Good job, boys. Great show, man.
Thanks, fellas. We'll talk to y'all later. All right, boys. That was the Fantasy Football Goon, the Goon and the Tooch. They're coming with us, fantasy experts, man. They're up there, dude. They're calling out stuff. People are hitting them up on Twitter asking for last minute adjustments or this and that or this guy's benched. What do I do now? Who do I pick up? Great insight and just great fantasy mindsets going in. Like I said, I'm 0-2 in fantasy, so what the hell do I know? But they're there, dude. And I ask them every now and then, but like I said, I'm a little touchy because I play against these dudes. And,
yeah,
I think my shit is just like a donation, man. My shit is just a donation to throw in there and go from there. So,
you know who you're playing this week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's me and you going at it this week.
Yeah.
So I think we're both 0-2. So that's
we are.
That is
don't
one
listen
of the
to us.
We bring in fantasy football experts on this show.
Yeah, don't listen to us because we're not them. Clearly, being 0-2.
Yeah, man, we're gonna move into score predictions and bold predictions. Badge, I know we'll have some coming through the chat, but if you guys got score predictions, bold predictions, we'll throw them up on the screen. We'll get them in the chat room. Score predictions. Is anybody picking the Bears to lose?
No.
No.
Okay. I know there's a lot of people out there that are picking the Bears to lose, and seeing how this thing is going to go. I think it all comes down to Julio, honestly. I think a lot of it comes down to Julio and whether or not he's playing. We've seen this defense kind of go into relax mode, right? I think this is going to be a shootout, man. My bold prediction for the week was that I think the Falcons were up 6. The Falcons are driving down the field, and we see the rookie. We see Mr. Jalen Johnson get a pick. He takes the pick. He runs around the field a little crazy, right? Ends up fucking laying down, and then Nagy actually uses the clock, runs it out with on the back of David Montgomery, and we solidify the game and wrap it up with a 6-point victory. I guess that's a bold prediction. It's not really a score prediction because I didn't give you one. I'll figure out what my score is going to be. AC, over to you, man. Bold prediction, score prediction. What do you got?
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game as well, but I think our defense is going to hold on in the end. And I think it's going to be another close one, another gut-wrenching heart attack of a game. I think the Bears win 35-31, and I guess I don't know if it's a bold prediction, but I'm gonna try to speak it into existence again. I think Bojack gets a pick 6, and this time it stays on the board.
All right.
All right. Well, I guess that leaves me. So I'm going to start with my bold prediction. My bold prediction is going to be 3 touchdowns between the tight ends. Whether that's Cole Kmet, whether it's Jimmy Graham, maybe Mitch will actually hit Demetrius Harris, for a TD this time.
Yeah.
We'll see that. My score prediction. I think this is a game that the Bears need to run away with. But unfortunately, like you guys, I think it's going to be very close. I think that Cairo Santos comes in and bangs a 34-yard field goal as time expires, and the Bears win 22-21.
Ooh, keeping it a little low. All right, we got a lot of guys in the chat are kind of keeping it low. 25-24 Bears, Joe Rivera. Mr. Mac for the win says 24-21 Bears. Isaac Hare says 30-24 Bears. Is that what it says, or is it Shar? I don't know. Either way, whatever. Everybody's going with the Bears. I haven't really seen, anybody in our room talk about, getting blown out or getting beat down. But this isn't a Falcons show, so that's a good thing. I do think it's going to be high scoring, though. I think there's going to be a lot of points put up. I'm hoping for the blowout, but I'm hoping for the blowout every week. So, I think it's just going to be another, like we said, heart attack game, heart palpitations and all, right? I'm gonna be popping some of Carrie's heart meds just to stay in it. Bears 30. That means the defense scored 20. Okay, he's just putting it. Let the defense score. I really don't care who scores. Get the ball in the damn end zone. But I think we're gonna see a lot of yards today, man. I think we're gonna see a lot of yards. I think we're gonna see some big plays out of Mack and out of Quinn. But I think this linebacker group is where we're going to kind of be biting our tongue and biting our lip, worried about the game. I think that's the underneath is where they're going to be tore up. Oh, Mike Ross.
You got to say Mike Ross in the super fan voice.
Yeah,
Bears 300, Falcons 3.
Falcons 3. But I think it's going to be a big one today, man. For everybody that joined us in the chat, we appreciate you guys coming out. Boys, you got any shout outs or any last minute things you want to get to before we get out of here?
Yeah, I just want to shout everybody out for listening, tuning in, watching the show, reaching out on social media to us. We totally 150 million% appreciate you guys joining us before every Bears game. It means so much to us that you guys are joining us each and every week, and we hope we're kicking your Sunday off right. Shout out to Gale Sayers and his family. May he rest in peace. Won't be the same without him here. So my guys, Bobby, AC, we're missing KB today. Much love and prayers to KB. We're holding it down for you, brother, and we hope we'll see you here back next week. But yeah, let's get this dub today.
Just like Badge said, man, shout out to everybody in the chat, watching us live. Tell your friends and family if they're Bears fans, or even if they're not. You can go back and watch it on YouTube or catch it in your podcast stream, wherever you listen to podcasts at. We appreciate all the support, and we appreciate anybody who loves the Bears. I mean, we're homers, not a single one of us picked the Falcons to win. And I'd say we're optimists always, but I love that about my boys, because they're just like me. Just bear down. Bear down.
Damn straight, man. I appreciate all you guys in the chat, man. And we try to interact with you every week. I know sometimes after the show, and I know everybody's commenting, thanks for interacting in the chat, Joe. Appreciate it. I know every week at the end, some people are like, hey, whatever. I think they're commenting in the wrong spot because I don't ever see those pop up. Those are like on the Facebook actual page. You got to hop into YouTube, hop on Periscope, hop on all those. Join us live in the chat. We're always willing to go back and forth with you guys. And as always, after the game, join John Buffon, Mr. Tyler Ellis, Aldo Gandia for Bear Football. We got your after game, but there's also a halftime little deal that they throw in there. A little quick first half hits that they do. So join them live at halftime, while you're getting up to run and grab your beer or whatever you got to do. Hop in there and join them guys at halftime. And as always, Swank, I see you in the chat, man. Appreciate it. We appreciate you guys joining us. None of this would be possible without you guys. We're trying, like we said earlier, we're trying to pull the sponsors in and get you guys some free stuff that we can send out. And a lot of people joining on board, man. This is just the beginning of it. Let's go in here for a big Bears victory today. We need these Bears to come out firing, man. Put all these doubters to rest. And even when we do win, it's going to be, that's an 0-2 team that didn't have their top player. Yeah. So whatever, man. Fuck them if they can't take a joke.
A win is a win is a win.
Exactly. And once again, man, we appreciate all you guys joining us out here. And until next week, bear down.
Bear down. Enjoy. Let's go.
Get it.
We jumped the gun.